What do job skills and your professional brand have in common? Well, everything. Being clear on who you are as a brand can help you leverage your strengths and communicate your unique value to others. Perfecting your job skills can enhance your effectiveness and drive how others perceive you. To begin, let's explore what your professional brand is and why it's important. Then, we'll focus on the 3 critical professional job skills: teamwork, communication, and time management. Your professional brand and professional skills are intertwined, so let's spend a few minutes developing your brand and your skills. During this video seminar, your screen will occasionally go dark like this, and an on-screen prompt will ask you to pause your video. Brief instructions on screen will ask you to complete work in your seminar workbook. You can download a copy of this seminar workbook on our course site or at the Greg Learning Facebook store. Before we get started, note page numbers are provided on slide to help you follow along in your workbook. Let's begin with a little reflection. Here's a question: what's a personal brand? Press pause now to complete this reflection in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Your brand is your story. It's what you're known for and how people experience you. Your brand is your key differentiator. It's what makes you unique. Your brand matters to employers, the people on your team, and anyone you encounter in your career. You can develop a personal brand in 3 easy steps. This is your opportunity to learn more about yourself so you can identify your unique strengths, values, and mission. Here's the steps. First, start with your strengths. Second, know your values. And third, define your mission. Let's take a quick look. First, start with your strengths. Everyone has a unique combination of talents or strengths that they use in their daily lives to do their work, achieve their goals, and interact with others. A strength is the ability to consistently provide near-perfect performance in a specific activity. The key to building strength is to identify your dominant talents, then complement them by acquiring knowledge and skills pertinent to the activity. Use your strengths, your talents, to build your unique brand. To illustrate, let's try this. First, sign your name in your workbook in your dominant hand. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Now, sign your name with your non-dominant hand. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. You see, using your strength feels like what comes naturally, like signing with your dominant hand. Use StrengthsFinder to help you understand your unique talents. To find your strengths, visit www.gallupstrengthcenter.com. Your strengths help define your professional brand and help you accomplish great things. People who know their strengths are 6 times as likely to do what they do best every day. They're 7.8% more productive and 3 times as likely to report an excellent quality of life. Let's move on. Number 2, know your values. A good way to define your brand is to understand your personal values. Your values are what's important to you in the way you live and work. Values are distinguishing tenets central to who you are and who you want to be. Use your values as a guide to develop and describe your brand. Let's take a minute to define your values in your seminar workbook. Here's your directions. First, select the most important values to you listed on the page in your workbook. Then, narrow down your top 3 values. And then finally, narrow down the one best word that describes who you are. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. And now finally, your 3rd step to developing a personal brand. Define your mission statement. Your personal mission brings focus to your brand. Your mission is your purpose, your cause. Your mission statement defines why what you do matters. A great personal mission is short, understandable, and easy to remember. Consider using these 3 simple guidelines. First, your mission should be no more than 1 sentence. It should be understood by a 12-year-old and you should be able to recite it by memory. One way to start thinking about crafting your personal mission is to consider the legacy you want to leave with those around you. Consider this reflection question. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to have accomplished? Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Bringing your personal brand together in a definitive, simple one-sentence mission statement might seem overwhelming. Don't let it. Crafting your mission is as easy as identifying your cause, action, and impact. Here's 3 steps. Step 1. Your cause is your audience, who you want to influence. Step 2. Your action is what you want to do. Step 3. Your impact is the end result, your change for the better. For me, my personal mission statement using this formula might sound like, "Hi, I'm Greg. I help professionals realize public service makes a difference in their community." Press pause now to use our 3-step formula in this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Now let's move on to job skills. First, let's reflect. What are job skills? Jot some notes in your workbook. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Your job skills define your interactions with others and the work you do. Simply put, your skills will add or distract from your brand. Skills are the ability to do something well. They are the how-to of a professional role. Skills are those professional competencies or capabilities that can be learned and transferred from one person to another. Recent Gallup research suggests that the skills learned in school are not aligning with those demanded in the American workplace. Here's some insight into what employers think are some of the most important on-the-job skills. 81% of employers say the ability to work in a team is critically important. 79% look for communication skills. 61% say prioritization and flexibility are key. 56% look for technical skills, and 48% desire organizational ability. Let's take those top 3 skills and look at them in a little bit more detail. First, teamwork. The ideal team player embodies 3 virtues: humility, hunger, and people smarts. Ideal team players are humble. Humble people are quick to point out the contributions of others and slow to seek attention for their own. Ideal team players are hungry. Hungry people almost never have to be pushed to work harder because they're self-motivated and diligent. And finally, ideal team players are smart. Smart people have common sense about people. That's emotional intelligence. Now let's assess your own virtues in these 3 areas. Are you a team player? Here's your directions. Score each item in the assessment in your workbook with the 3-point scale provided, with 1 being rarely, 2 being sometimes, and 3 being usually. Respond to each question based on what your teammates would say about you, and then total your score in each area. Use the Interpreting Your Scores section to identify your strengths in each of the 3 virtues of the ideal team player. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Before we move on, let's reflect. In your seminar workbook, write down a few thoughts in response to this question. What can I do to be more humble, hungry, and smart? Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Moving on to communication. Great communication in the workplace follows 3 simple C's of communication as a formula to get right down to business. Communication in business has to be clear, concise, and captivating. Let's take a look. To understand the power of clear, concise, and captivating communication, consider this. I'm going to put some letters on the screen and ask you to not write in your workbook until I turn those letters off. Then, once I've given you a few seconds to look at the letters, and the letters have disappeared from your screen, I want you to write the letters down that you recall in your workbook. Let's give it a try. Here's our first set of letters. Remember, don't write them down in your workbook now, but wait until the screen goes blank and then write down the ones you remember. Alright, now time for a second try. Again, what are the letters on the screen? Remember, look at the letters, remember as many as you can. Don't write in your workbook yet. When the screen goes dark, then write. Here's your letters. Wasn't it easier with the second time around with those familiar three-letter acronyms for FBI, the NFL? It was stuff that you remembered. It was things that were familiar to you. It was clear, concise, and captivating because of how the same letters were just reorganized into a better way to help get something done. If we're clear, concise, and captivating in our communication, we get more done. No matter the method of communication, use the 3 C's: clear, concise, and captivating. Here's some thoughts on how to do it. If your communication is clear, it's easy to understand and interpret. So be clear by thinking about your audience needs. I call this you attitude, keeping the audience perspective front of mind. Use simple and concrete words in all of your communication, and reduce redundancy by eliminating unnecessary words. Make sure your communication is concise by giving a lot of information clearly and in a few words. Be brief but comprehensive by leading with your main point. I call this getting right down to business. It's putting the most important information up front. Use short and direct sentences, and don't over-explain. And finally, when your communication is captivating, you tell a story that attracts and holds interest. So be captivating by always having an ask, a call to action in your communication. Tell a story that connects your audience by painting a word picture, and consider using images, because after all, pictures speak 1,000 words. Successful business communication focuses on the audience perspective and is clear, concise, and captivating. And finally, let's take a look at time management skills, or the process of organizing and planning how you divide time. Time is completely inelastic. We all have the same amount of time every day. So what's important in time management is our ability to prioritize and to be flexible. That's why I created this time management formula. It says that priorities, or something that is regarded as more important than another, times pliability, which is our ability to be adaptable and flexible, equals time management. That is how we choose to use our time. It's pretty simple. You can enhance your time management with prioritization and flexibility with this time management grid. You'll find it in your workbook as well. Just ask yourself these questions. Is it important? Is it urgent? Or both? And that's what the 4 boxes help you do. So take a few minutes to use the time management grid. Here's your directions. Identify the tasks you've done today or that you need to do, and then categorize each of them in one of the 4 boxes. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. And to wrap up our time and time management, let's reflect. Here's 3 questions from your workbook. What are some things you can eliminate from your busy life, the box 4 activities, immediately? How do some things from box 3 keep you from being productive? And finally, can you name the times when you felt most productive? What quadrant were you in? Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue with the seminar.